Hello, everyone. This is Mrs.Z. It's a lesson 8, grade 5, mission 6, lesson 8. It's a word problem. It says this. Okay. The coordinate pairs listed located points on the two different lines. So line L and line M. Write a rule that describes the relationship between the x and a y coordinate for each line. So if we look, the coordinate looks like very dark. So I'm gonna change that to this one right now. Let's see if that helps. Okay, so I'm gonna create a table. I'm gonna create a table because it helps me to see these numbers. So line L, if that is if I have the T chart like this is going to be my X and this is going to be my Y. Okay, so now the X is 3.5, and then Y is 7. I'm gonna draw a line there. That's the first pair. The next pair is 1 2/3 and 3 1/3. Okay, and next pair is 5 and 10. Okay. Now, when I have those, I look in relationship between X and Y, and I look which one is the easiest to figure it out. So I'm looking the whole numbers, 5 and 10, and I'm thinking, okay, what do I do to X to make a Y? So as now I can see it's 5 times 2 is 10. So for every 2x there is y. So, or I can say that rule could be 2 times 5, 2 times 2. Okay, but it has to work for every point. So now I'm looking, okay, what other one I can really figure it out, is that correct? So times 2, 5 times 2 makes 10. Does it 3.5 times 2 make 7? I can think 3.5 twice. So 3.5 plus 3.5. That would be easy to figure it out. So if I have 3.5 plus 3.5, this half and half, they will make a whole. So that makes that I will have a 3 plus 3 is 6 plus 1 makes 7. So it works for 3.5 times 2 makes 7. But let's see, does it works for the third one? It has to work for every pair. So is it 1 2/3 times 2, 3 1/3? So I can also think about 1 2/3 twice. So 1 2/3 plus 1 2/3. Here I have 2/3 and 2/3. They make 4/3. So then if I think about 4/3, that is 3/3. 3/3 makes a whole, and then I have 1/3 left. So now I'm going to combine all this. I have 1 whole, 2 wholes, 3 wholes, and 1/3. So it's correct. So 1 1 2/3 times 2 makes 3 1/3. So I found my rule, that's times 2, okay, times 2 times 2. So now I have to come up with some kind of how I get y. So y is for how to get y, I take x and I multiply by 2. So what that means is x times 2, x times 2. I can use the dot instead of multiplication, so x times 2, or we can also change this one to be 2x. So this is invisible multiplication symbol. It means 2 times x, or x times 2, or 2 times x. Why? To find the y, you need to multiply the x twice. 2x. All right? So relationship for L is y is twice greater than x. Now we're going to go and think of the next line. This was the line L. Okay, and then now I'm going to do the line M. Okay, I'm going to make table for line M right here. So if this is X and this is Y for M, I'm going to have 6/3. Okay, 6/3. But then I know the division line, this fraction line is division line. So this means 6 divided into 3, and that is also 2. So I can see this as a 2. Okay, so 6/3 is also 2. And then I have another one is 1. So one side is 1, the other side is 2. So next, if I have 3 1/2, I'm going to draw a line in between. So 3 1/2 and 1 3/4. Okay. And then I have 13 and 6 1/2. Okay, so when we look this, the first thing I noticed that in this case, x was smaller and y is getting bigger. So x is smaller, y is greater, x is smaller, y is greater. When we look the pattern on for line M, it looks like that if x is 6/3, which makes 2, and then y is 1. So from 2, it goes to 1. It gets smaller. Here, x is 3 1/2, and then y is 1 3/4. So it gets smaller. This one is 13, and then x is 13, y is 6 1/2. So what that tells you, that if you think a relationship, this has to do something, relationship from x and y has to do with plus or multiply, while here it could be minus or division. So that you can, because the y is getting smaller. So let's see how we can think about this. If you have 2 and you get 1, what is happening with that? So that means 2 divided by 2 gives me 1. Cookie, stop. that will work there. Now, this was easier to figure it out, so I'm thinking of, okay, to get y, you need to have x divided into 2, or a half of x is y. When you think about next number is 13 and 6.5, because I discovered that my rule could work divide by, or I'm looking what is a half of 13. So either way I can think, okay, if I look for a divide 13 to 2, I can say, okay, 13 12 is divisible into 2. That will give me 6, but then I will have 1 extra, so that will give half one. So half and 6.5 and 6.5 will make me a 13. 13 divided into the half. Also, if you let's see how I could do that. So first, how I can solve this is 6 divided by 3 equals 2. That one. Okay, and now if I think about this, how I can solve it. So that means this is 2 divided by 1. It's 2, oh, sorry, 2 divided into 2 equals 1. Sorry, messed up that. So, or we can say 2 times 1/2 will give you also 1. So, what is a half of 2 is 1. Right? Okay, next 13. If you think about dividing 13 into 2, you can think 13 divided by 2. You can think this to be 12 halves. That makes 6. And then you have here 1 divided into, so that will make 6.5. 6.5. So it works for that. So you can think about dividing 13 divided into 2, or 13 times 1/2. Either equation will work for that. For the problem, because the multiplication and division are connected. So now I need to prove so it works, the rule works, divide by 2 or multiply by 1/2 for these two pairs. But let's see if it works for this one. So what is half of 3.5? Over here you have fractions that are fourths. Over here are halves. So we need to change the half into the fourths. So let's see. If you have 3.1/2, you also have 3 2/4. Now, I needed to divide. Okay, I'm going to make a smaller this. So, right. So when I have 3.5, that becomes 3 2/4, because you change the half into 2/4. Then now you need to divide this into 2, or you can multiply by 1/2. Which, thinking about how you need to find if that makes half off, you can divide into 2 equally 2/4, but you cannot divide equally 3 into 2 parts. So I'm going to change the 3 wholes into, leave the 2 wholes, and 1 whole I will make as a 4, break apart 4/4, plus the 2/4 that you have. finally I will have 2 wholes and 6 fourths. Sorry, this is fourths. I messed up. Okay, so now thinking of this, you have 2 wholes. You can share equally into 2 parts. So each part will be, look, if this is the dividing this into 2, so 1 get each whole, and then 1 will each get 3 fourths. 3 fourths. So we prove our answer. If we have 3.5, we can change it into 2 and 6 fourths. And when you divide that into 2, it get us 1 and 3 fourths. So the rule works for this as well. You can say divide into 2, or you can say multiply by 1/2. All right. To get y, you need to divide x into 2, or you have to multiply x by 1/2 fraction. So now let's put all this together. We created how for y, to find a y, you needed to multiply x twice. So x is 2x makes y. Now, to do this one, you can start, let me make this a little bit so you can see. Let's see if I start with what I just did. I'm looking for a y. What is the y? So in this case, y is equals x divided into 2. X divided into 2. Okay, now we can change this as using a fraction line. X divided into 2. Then also what x halves means, we can think that this is actually 1/2 x. So the equation changes from x divided into 2 to x by using a fraction line, which is division line. And then if we take, that means that if you, by the rule, you can put x in the front, because x times 1/2 is x halves, and x halves makes x divided by 2. So that proves that relationship, that we can say for to find a y, we can divide every x by 2, or to find a y is 1/2 of x. All right. So if we need to write now all this, we can say that, okay, I'm going to use this area here. Line L, y is 2 times x. Y is 2 times x. Or do line M. Line M. Y is 1/2 of x. Y is 1/2 of x. Y is 1/2 times x. Or we usually don't put time, but I want you to know then this means the same. So 2x is, or 1/2 of x. Y is 1/2 of x means y is 1/2 of x. Y is 2 times x. Y is 2 times x. We usually don't put multiplication in between 2 and x. It goes like just 2x or 1/2 times x. We don't put this multiplication there. I hope this was okay with you guys. It's a little bit blurry, so I wonder if you were able to see all of it and if you can understand the whole process. Right, so that was lesson 8, word problem. We created tables. Then we compare each pair. We look for the pair that it's easier to figure it out. And then from there, we check does the rule applies for every pair. And if it does, then we found the rule for how to find y if you know what is happening with x. All right, that was Mrs. Z. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you. Bye-bye.